I think few things delight human beings quite so much as a surprise. Even people who say they don't like a surprise, when a surprise is sprung on them that is kind of awesome and unexpected and has a great outcome, after the fact, they're like, yeah, that was amazing. That was awesome. And a plot twist is a surprise for your book. Many authors that I've worked with as a writing coach have had issues with plot twists. So, tons of mistakes that authors are making with plot twists, kind of ranging from thinking that they have to have a plot twist to thinking that, this is how you write a plot twist, and then they do it wrong and completely sink their plot. So, today I'm not going to be talking about specific writers that I've worked with. I'm going to kind of compile the things that I've learned from my writers and the training that I've given my writers as a writing coach dealing with plot twists, because they are pretty hard to do right. But once you do them right, and once you've practiced how to do it, they become a great tool that you have in your arsenal. And I'm going to tell you how plot twists can really positively impact your writing career more than so many other items or elements in your story. I'll tell you how that works today on the How to Be an Author podcast. And also, speaking of writing career and writing mindset, a plot twist can often happen in our life, right? We're the main character of our lives. And sometimes there's a plot twist that happens in our writing process or in our career. Things don't work out the way we thought they would. And it can really mess with us. It can really have us questioning what we're doing in our writing career, or whether we're meant to be a writer, or how that's going to look moving forward. So I want to also, in this episode, once we've talked about craft, I want us to start talking about how to anticipate and deal with plot twists, roll with them, roll with that sort of, change or altering course in your writing career as well. I think that's going to be a really crucial skill to keep growing as an author. And remember, when you stay the same, you're not growing, right? So plot twists can be a great thing in your writing career as well. And there's something that can actually positively impact your mindset if you're looking at them right. So let's dive right into this really useful, really exciting episode about plot twists. If you're a writer dreaming of becoming a successful author, join me, writing coach Karena Akhavein, on the How to Be an Author podcast, your weekly source for writing information, inspiration, and motivation. Hello, thank you so much for joining me on the How to Be an Author podcast. I'm writing coach Karena Akhavein, and it is my passion in life to help people, anyone, write their story, whether it's autobiographical or fantasy, or whether it's even a book of poetry. I want you to express yourself in writing the way you've been dreaming of doing it, and make a successful writing career come to life if that's what you want. So let's talk about plot twists today, because I think that plot twists can really impact your writing career in a great way. And then we go through these plot twists sometimes in our life that can influence our life or our journey as an author. And we really need to talk about how to deal with that. So what is a plot twist? First, it is an unexpected turn of events. In a story, it deviates from the established or anticipated direction of the narrative. A plot twist is a device that authors use on purpose to surprise and engage the audience. It adds a level of intrigue to the plot. It adds some complexity. And there are various plot twists that you can write. And I'm going to be talking about some of the plot twists that are cliche, and then those that you can still explore, and how to deal with all different types of plot twists. I think that's a really useful thing. But in any case, a plot twist is kind of something that significantly alters the course of the plot in general. Now, how does a well-executed plot twist impact your writing career? I think there's so many ways that this can happen. And for example, I've seen some filmmakers or some authors that have generated buzz and drawn attention to their work and to themselves with a really well executed plot twist. So if readers find your twist super intriguing or surprising, they're going to share their excitement with others. This leads to increased visibility for your books. This is when you go viral, right? When there's a thing where it's like, oh, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you're going to just be so surprised. That's really kind of fun, right? Basically, word of mouth is always our goal in terms of book marketing. Word of mouth is one of the most powerful book marketing things that you want to have, but it's really hard to generate lots of word of mouth, right? But a well-received plot twist, that's one of the things that can result in really positive reviews and super enthusiastic recommendations, person to person. Readers who are impressed by the twist are going to be telling their friends, and they'll be sharing their thoughts online. There might be some forums about your story. People are going to be talking about it. This is the sort of thing when you're writing like a book club worthy book, for example, a plot twist can really help to do that. And critics and literary reviewers also appreciate a well-crafted plot twist. If it's innovative, if it's well executed, you might be getting some really favorable reviews. This enhances your reputation. This attracts attention from literary circles and other people. So that's really, really great. You want that reader engagement and discussion, right? If people are talking about your book, whether it's in person, in their book club, on social media, in other forums online, on Reddit, whatever, this creates a community around your work. Kind of love keeping that audience actively involved because remember that writing is not just a one-way street. It involves you and what you've created and how it's received by your audience. That's so important, right? For you to have that engaged, audience participation in what's going on. That is the absolute ideal. And of course, all of this gets translated into increased sales. And we all like that as well. And if you also, you're looking for awards or other recognition, you're wanting the media to reach out to you, that's all really, really cool. Another thing with a plot twist is many of you are probably thinking about certain filmmakers who became really famous with their plot twists, right? I'm thinking about, some of these guys like, oh, I see dead people, right? This sort of thing really catches the attention of Hollywood or other media, right? And this could lead to opportunities for your work to be adapted into movies, television series, or other forms of media. That's kind of exciting. And that creates, see, we're talking about the first type of plot twist in your writing career, possibly a direction that you didn't see coming, right? That's a great plot twist. You're sitting there, nose to the grindstone as a writer, and all of a sudden you're the darling of Hollywood. Who would have thunk? Exactly. It's great to know how to anticipate these things and think about what would you do when this happens. We're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But basically, having this plot twist, it really can boost your confidence as a writer when you've done it well. You've basically taken this creative risk that paid off. And so you might be motivated to take more creative risks in the future. But the problem is, I know that if you've had a book that had this crazy, amazing plot twist, now the pressure's on. And you start to worry about, am I going to be able to recreate this magic? Am I going to be able to replicate this in the future? And maybe not, right? That's the scary part. But when you know what makes a good plot twist and how to build up to a good plot twist, even if your next plot twist isn't so shocking or impressive, you've already expanded your reader base. You've already gotten more people to pay attention to your work. And if you do it well and you don't let them down, not every plot twist can be a complete game changer, right? Not all plot twists guarantee success, and poorly executed twists have the opposite effect, right? If you tried to write a plot twist and you completely messed it up, well, that can really hurt your book as well, right? So what is an effective plot twist? An effective plot twist is one that definitely challenges the reader's assumptions. So your job is to have them super invested in the story, right? But you want to then start getting them guessing. And when the plot twist happens, they're like, wow, right? This leads them to reevaluate the characters and the overall storyline. And it really enhances the depth and the impact of your story. But plot twists need to feel organic. They can't feel forced. They can't feel like all of a sudden you're stepping outside of the story's internal logic, right? The plot twist needs to be memorable. It needs to be powerful. It needs to be satisfying, right? And let's talk about why plot twists are so satisfying again, right? Why is it? Because when you know what makes a plot twist satisfying, it can help you to start thinking about what types of plot twist you want to write into your story. All right, number one is the surprise and the novelty. We mentioned the surprise at the beginning of the episode. Human beings, it's innate. We have this natural inclination towards novelty and the unexpected. So it really engages us. Even if we say we don't love surprises, we kind of often do because it's an interesting intellectual challenge, right? It adds this layer of complexity. It's intellectually stimulating, and many of us like to use our brains. Readers are brainy people, and so they don't want to have something that's too predictable all the time. Also, a satisfying plot twist is kind of a shortcut to a strong emotional response. I always talk about making sure that you deepen your reader's connection to characters in your story with emotional content. Well, a satisfying plot twist can really definitely get those emotions to the surface like nothing else, right? That's really, really important. It helps your reader to be more engaged. And also, when you're engaged, you retain that reader even for your next book, right? Attentive readers, too, are rewarded when you've foreshadowed a plot twist. When readers are picking up on these subtle hints and clues, the twist becomes even more satisfying. So you've got some readers who kind of speed read through things and they're missing some details. Well, when you've got a reader who's attentive, they're rewarded by being like, oh, I should have seen that coming because I noticed this, this, and that, right? But what are some of the huge mistakes that authors typically make when they're trying to incorporate a plot twist into their story? You definitely want to avoid these pitfalls because they can sink not just the plot twist, but your whole plot, right? When you try to turn things around and you kind of fail miserably, you're not left with the rest of the story. You've just basically destroyed your own story for nothing. Right? That's the tragedy of the ill-executed plot twist, is that you've just gone and destroyed what you've built without giving a satisfying alternative. That's really a shame, right? So what are some of the mistakes of badly written plot twists? Lack of foreshadowing. A plot twist should not come out of nowhere. It should feel like it came out of nowhere, but in hindsight, your reader's going to be like, oh, that was inevitable, or at the very least, that was reasonable, right? Without proper setup, a plot twist feels not just contrived, but also almost like you're violating the contract between you and your reader. Because you're setting up your reader, you're getting them involved and invested in your world. If you turn that upside down and you don't give them a great alternative and you don't give them a great reason, you don't reward them for having stuck with you this far, they are going to actually hate the plot twist, right? So if your plot twist is feeling like you inserted it solely for shock value, that can be really jarring. That forced or unnatural plot twist disrupts the flow of your narrative. So if it's not a natural progression of the story, that's going to be a problem for your reader, right? You cannot contradict the established rules of your story or the established traits of your characters without kind of at least alluding to it or starting to give these hints as to how that might happen. Because if you don't do that, if you don't stick to the internal logic or at least give a really, really logical reason for why that internal logic was a false illusion, you're going to confuse and alienate your reader, and that's not the goal. And in fact, I was talking about this whole character arc logic of what the character's like. A plot twist really does have to have an impact on the characters, right? So if you've got a plot twist and it doesn't take the character development into account, if it doesn't have emotional and psychological consequences, it's really going to make it feel shallow and disconnected from the overall story. So it's basically like it didn't even need to be there. Same thing if you're kind of ignoring the overall story arc. If the whole plot twist feels isolated or unrelated, it's going to feel out of place. it's not really, worth it. And also consider your reader's experience. This is the most important thing. If I had to give one piece of advice on, what to do to write a good plot twist, think about your reader. You want to surprise your reader. I get that, but you don't want your reader to feel manipulated in a bad way. So they should feel rewarded for their engagement, not betrayed, right? That's crucial. You don't want your reader to be like, oh my God, that sucks. Everything I thought was a lie. And the lie or the reality that I now have been presented with in this twist really sucks. It makes me sad that I read this whole book. That's really bad. And you know what? Don't worry if your story isn't conducive to a plot twist. You don't need a plot twist in every single story. Some people want to put in a twist at all cost. And honestly, if you're over reliant on twists to try to make your plot interesting, I'm thinking that, it becomes exhausting for the reader, and there's not a great return when, your twist isn't really right. When you're trying to put one in at all costs, a well-paced narrative with a balance of tension and release is key. So you don't need twist, twist, twist. You can have mini cliffhangers instead, or questions or suspense that you maintain throughout the story. And this can be just as satisfying as a plot twist. So remember that. That's very, very important. But remember that successful plot twists, they're the ones that resonate with the story, characters, and themes. They enhance the overall reading and experience rather than simply serving as shock factor. So let me talk about a couple of my little writing hacks that I share with my writing clients. And now you're getting these writing hacks. And if this is a lot of information, and I know it is, you're going to have all of this as a reference sheets and in workbook exercises. You get all of this in my workbook, DIY Author. It's such a great value. For $47, you basically get the blueprint to writing and marketing and publishing an awesome book and moving your writing career forward. So if you've been blocked and you're also like, well, I want to do all these things, but I just don't have the budget for it, DIY Author is exactly for you. It's a one and done. Like basically, this is something that helps you to do everything yourself and not have to pay any more if you don't want to. Now, if you want to do things more completely, if you've been completely blocked and you need really to be walked through a 6-month plan to writing and publishing your book and creating an author platform and feeling like it's kind of done for you and that you have all the resources that you need, even to, hire the professionals that you need, et cetera, that's going to be your From Idea to Published in 6 months. That is the masterclass. You get absolutely everything in there. And then, of course, the one last thing is if you've written a plot twist and you're not sure if it's working, guess what? Come to me, your writing coach, for an editorial assessment. And that can be such a great value. It's a one-time thing where you get to find out whether the things you're writing are working. You're going to get a bunch of feedback from me, written feedback that you can keep referring back to. And I really pride myself on giving you actionable tips that move your writing career forward. And you get that feedback that you needed and wanted to help you to move forward. So anyway, okay, speaking of moving forward, let's talk about these writing hacks that I give my writing clients to help them to write compelling plot twists. First thing, the foreshadowing, right? You need to do it strategically. And I've got this great foreshadowing hack that many people haven't thought of because they're like, okay, well, if I'm dropping hints or clues throughout the story, doesn't it become kind of obvious? How do I do that? Okay, so first of all, there's the rule of 3. You don't want to have just one clue. You want to have 3. That's a great number of clues where people will be like, first they guess, wait, what's that? And then the second one, they might notice it more and be like, wait, is this really happening? And then by the third one, they're like, oh, is there a plot twist coming? And when's it going to come? So this is building your suspense and your tension really, really well. But how do you make those clues not too huge? You do these little parts of a thing, right? So if the clue is that, character A isn't the person they're saying they are, show three little ways, show that they aren't that person. So for example, you've got somebody who's pretending to be some aristocrat, for example. Okay, clue number one, they used a word that's not a word that aristocrats would use. Clue number two, someone notices that, they take something from them and their hands are really rough, not the hands of an aristocrat, right? But you say this in a really subtle way, right? His rough palm brushed mine, right? That's enough. That's a clue. And then three, maybe they're sitting at the table and the character asks for, the salt, and they, hand them the salt shaker directly instead of passing the salt and pepper to the right and putting it on the table, all of this stuff, right? So these are three different small ways that we've just shown very subtly, but we've foreshadowed that this person is not who they're pretending to be, right? That's kind of cool. Another thing that you can do also is you don't need to foreshadow only things that are right or that are going to happen. You can create misdirection, right? That's a great little hack. You can create these little red herrings, right? Lead readers down a narrative path that's, one narrative path, and then you're subtly planting seeds that suggest another direction. But then that's not actually the direction. This makes the actual twist more surprising when it happens. I kind of love that. That's one that works pretty well. But again, don't manipulate your reader too much. Don't make your red herrings into something that your readers are going to hate you for. Don't promise something that's better than what your actual plot twist is for the story or for the characters. Your readers are going to get pissed. So that's kind of fun. Also, use unreliable narrators. Unreliable narrators are a great way to tell your story in a way that the twist will make sense because your character is telling the story from their perspective, from their reality. And you're not lying to them. The narrator is lying to your reader. Here's the other really important thing that you need to consider when you're writing a plot twist. You need to make sure that the foundation of your story, including, your world building, your characters, their motivations, all of that needs to be well established before you introduce a plot twist. Because if you're introducing a plot twist into a world that we don't quite get yet, or that we're not invested in yet, it's not going to be as satisfying. So definitely you need to make sure that we have all the information we need and all of our expectations in place before you start to challenge our assumptions. That's really important too. And you can do this with the setting. You can do this with the theme. You can do this even with your genre. You can start to establish these expectations, but make sure that whole foundation is really solid before you start to, ruin it or subvert it with a plot twist. Definitely the pacing is crucial. Pacing is so important. You need to create peaks and valleys of tension in your story and build that tension gradually. And people wonder, when do I introduce a twist? Do I introduce it in a quiet moment? No, you can introduce a twist in a climactic moment, and that is much more effective. So when it's well timed, and it has to be timed for the time when it evokes that emotional response as strongly as possible, right? So you don't want to just surprise intellectually, you want to surprise emotionally. Now, how do you know if this is working, right? It's so hard for us to be objective about our own work. And also, how do you evaluate a plot twist when you know what happens? So you're not going to be surprised and delighted, are you? I mean, sometimes we get that feeling though, when we're in the zone and we're reading our own thing and we're like, oh, damn, this is good. Oh, I've got the emotion working just right here. Like I'm getting sucked into my own writing. That's really wonderful. You know that that's working then when you're doing that, but definitely share your work with beta readers, gauge their reactions to the twist. They'll tell you whether it's effective. They'll tell you whether they feel like there are any potential issues with the twist. Now, I always say when you're working with beta readers, they can tell you what's wrong, but don't really listen to their recommendations of what to do instead. Oftentimes, they're going to give you something that's a little cliche because it's not their story and they're not necessarily a writer. So definitely you're going to be wanting to avoid the cliched twists. And don't you worry, we're going to be talking right now about what are those cliche plot twists that have been used so much in storytelling that they've become predictable. They lack the element of surprise. They go kind of against what you want from a plot twist, right? Because people have seen them so many times before. But remember, don't feel bad if you're listening to this podcast and the plot twist you were thinking about or that you had your heart set on or the plot twist that you wrote in the book that you just published, if you find it in this list of cliches. Cliches became cliches because they were kind of awesome, right? The only issue is that they're kind of overused, and there are ways of either subverting a cliche or making it more fresh or making it your own. So don't worry if you've done this. So many authors make the mistake of thinking that, their book is a one-off, it's a one and done, and that they're never going to write anything again. You have umpteen chances to write another book with a plot twist that works, that's not cliche, all this good stuff. And, you're going to come up with something that makes your story more fresh next time. But it's not a huge deal. And sometimes when we use a cliche, it's not as bad as we thought. Some people will still be delighted by it. So don't worry about it. But some of the things to think about that are considered to be cliche and that you might want to tweak if you have this in your writing, you've got things like the dream sequence, right? Revealing that a significant portion of the story was just a dream. This can be really disappointing. It's often seen as a cop-out, unless it's not. There might be ways of writing this in a way that are great. Like think of, Inception, for example. That is a fresher way of writing that whole thing because you don't even know, right? Was it or wasn't it? Or same thing like, Matrix style stuff. It was all a simulation, right? If it's a virtual world or a simulated reality, this trope has been around for a while, but there are still ways of keeping it fresh. One of them being just keeping people guessing the whole time. Another cliched trope that's sometimes used as a so-called plot twist is the mentor is the villain, right? The trusted guide who turns out to be the main antagonist. Yeah, this has been used a lot. It's somewhat predictable, but how can you make it less predictable? Because, the thing is, this happens all the time in real life. People trust somebody implicitly, and then it turns out that they weren't trustworthy. This is still, in my opinion, something that people can resonate with if you do it well. If you find a way to still make that mentor as villain plot twist come to life, right? So speaking of coming back to life, right? The character back from the dead. Oh my God, I thought you were dead, but you're back. Um, this was such a stereotype for soap operas, for example. It's kind of predictable. It's a little bit convenient. The evil twin or the doppelganger, that sort of thing, kind of fun. Long lost relative, all of this stuff. These are often used as plot twists, shortcut to a plot twist. And, maybe it's a little bit overused. Just make sure to handle it carefully, right? Same thing with the main character that loses their memory only to regain it later in the story and find out that, oh my God, my husband was plotting my demise all along. Okay, that's a total, it's a plot twist, but it's a cliche plot twist, but handled carefully, it can still work, right? Same as the chosen one trope or, the government conspiracy or whatever. All of these things can work if you do them right, but it's important to be aware when your plot twist is a little bit of a cliche. Just know that you need to approach this in a fresh way to enhance the storytelling experience and enhance your reader's experience. And remember, this is super subjective, right? What works well can depend on what your reader wants. It depends also on your genre, the context, your tone. Some things though do tend to be universally enjoyable when they're well executed. So let's talk about some types of plot twists that resonate well. And these are more categories I was talking about when the trustworthy, or when the trusted mentor is actually the antagonist. Honestly, this is a whole category, in my opinion, right? A character believed to be trustworthy is either like a double agent or they're betraying your character. I think that this is a whole character trope that can work. And I think it's a plot twist that still can work because it's such a human thing to want to trust someone and then to be so destroyed by them betraying you. So this does keep readers on the edge of their seats and it emotionally invests them. Another theme that makes for a really good plot twist is character redemption. Readers really like it when a character that was perceived as an antagonist or morally ambiguous, they actually appreciate it when they're finally revealed to have nobler intentions or to actually undergo personal growth leading to their redemption, right? These twists can evoke empathy and they can challenge readers' initial judgments. That whole idea of the morally gray character who occasionally does something to try to redeem themselves is kind of interesting. If you look at the character of Loki in Norse mythology and in all of the Marvel movies, people love Loki because he's morally ambiguous. You never quite know, will Loki be betraying people or will he actually be helping them out? You never quite know. And that creates a satisfying plot twist that's based on Loki's fundamental character, which is really cool. He is kind of morally ambiguous. He is kind of a jokester and he cannot help himself. So that's kind of fun. So that can be really rewarding, as can, and this can also lead to another type of plot twist, which is kind of the unexpected alliance. So characters who were thought to be enemies or on opposing sides, for example, they'll join forces for a common goal. This twist can add a lot of complexity to relationships and it can surprise and engage the audience. And it can really open up your plot for, it can take your plot in a different direction. For example, the reader's thinking all is lost. There's no way these characters are going to get to where they want to go or what they want to do or win this battle or what have you. And now you've got this unexpected teamwork that comes from an unexpected source. That's a great plot twist, especially if it's been foreshadowed just a little bit. Again, we were talking also about like hidden identity. That's kind of fun. Secrets, family ties, hidden pasts, all of that stuff is a very satisfying plot twist category that you can definitely be exploiting. And, I talked about the alternate realities, simulation, dream type thing. That can be cliche or it can definitely be mind bending and intellectually stimulating. So think about how you can do these things, right? How you can surprise your reader in a way that definitely, maybe subverts some things, is unexpected, but also is foreshadowed in a really surprising, cool, intentional, but subtle way, right? So I think keep it refreshing, keep it effective, keep it fitting into your story. But I really think that the most important thing about writing a plot twist, you might not get it right the first time. Especially those of us who are pantsers, those of us who don't like writing a huge outline, crafting a satisfying plot twist requires effort, often multiple drafts, often rewriting and refining, because oftentimes it's not easy to integrate it seamlessly into your narrative. You have to work on that. So I always tell my writers, this is why I always tell my writers, go back, create another outline based on what you have now, what's missing, and how can you integrate things in? Are there things you can take out or just a couple little things you can add? All of that makes it so much better when you ultimately get this twist to fit into your book. And then boom, all of a sudden you've got readers talking about your work and you maybe have the attention of other media. That'd be amazing, right? So this takes us a little bit to the mindset. It's hard when you're a writer and things are coming your way and you've got this uncertainty in your career and in your creative endeavors. You've got these unexpected outcomes. You're querying your novel and you don't know whether, an agent's going to say yes or they're going to say no, or sometimes, as happened to me in the past, you get picked up by an agent and then dropped by an agent. It's really, really hard to stay resilient and to keep producing quality work when this stuff is coming at you. These nonstop plot twists, right? You're like, oh, I thought I was going to finish NaNoWriMo, but plot twist, my kid got sick and I wasn't able to do that. Or I thought that I was ready to publish my book and all the beta readers came back and said they don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Plot twist, not a good one, right? Or then you've got the other plot twist where it's like, oh, I queried a book before I was ready to really finish it because I thought that that'd be a great way of knowing whether it's marketable. And now they want a full manuscript tomorrow. Plot twist, right? How do you deal with these things? I've got some strategies that you definitely can employ to maintain resilience and a positive mindset as you deal with all the plot twists that come your way in your writer life. So first of all, a growth mindset. This is so important. Many authors have a fixed mindset where they really think that they either have it or they don't. They have the talent or they don't. They're running out of time to become a great author, blah, blah, blah. It's this very reductionist, fixed mindset that doesn't help anyone. So a growth mindset embraces challenges. It embraces unexpected outcomes because those are opportunities for growth. A growth mindset is definitely going to encourage the learning that comes from experiences, the learning that comes from adapting. And this happens to your characters as well. Remember, they need these unexpected things to happen so that these setbacks can make them grow and learn. All of this is part of the creative process. If you were going through and everything worked out exactly as you thought, I think that'd be pretty boring and you probably would not be satisfied with it. So don't focus on the things that you can't control. Don't focus on the stuff coming your way that's like a shitstorm and you can't deal with it, pardon my French. Focus on what you can control, right? So not everything is out of your control. There's some aspects of your writing and your career that you can control. A lot of this includes your process, the effort you put into your work, your interactions with readers, your writing schedule, when you write, how much you write, the things that you do to get better, the things that you're posting on social media. Each of these things you can control. You cannot control the algorithm, for example, but by concentrating on the elements that are helping you to grow, you are going to regain a sense of agency. And I think that the sense of agency is really important. You want to be an actor in your own life. And that's important. But sometimes when we get so bogged down with all these unexpected changes, I know it's really hard to stay present and to manage the stress, right? So this whole idea of mindfulness, I know it can sound a little bit woo-woo, meditation, deep breathing, journaling, all of these things sound like they might be a little too, woo-woo and, whatever for some of you, but I think that practicing mindfulness and being in the moment is really important to help you to navigate uncertainty and to keep you maintaining a clear perspective. Like definitely take a step back and not only celebrate your small wins, but start to set realistic expectations, right? And also, not everything can be anticipated. Not everything can be controlled. So, you're setting realistic expectations, and then when they don't always come out the way you thought, be okay with it. And I know that's so hard to do. But you know what helps? Having a support system. Connecting with other authors who've been there, done that, joining a writing community, building a support network, all of that is so important because you're going to get these valuable insights. You're going to get encouragement from other writers during uncertain times. And that really, really helps. And also another way that you can kind of future-proof your writing career in a way is diversify your skills and your projects. If you've put all your eggs in one proverbial basket, you're probably going to be devastated if, for example, that book gets rejected or if, you get really bad feedback. That's horrible. But if you've diversified your projects and you've got different income streams or different creative outlets, it really helps to cushion that impact. It doesn't hurt as much when you have something come your way. Cultivating adaptability is so important. Being able to pivot. And that's really important. We're going to be talking about that. That is, many writers find that their career, there's like this absolute plot twist that comes along. A writing journey is not just about ups and downs. It's also about the unexpected ways in which your career might change. And are you going to roll with the punches? Are you going to pivot? And that's a choice that you can have. So right now in my writing career, I'm having this interesting opportunity where I'm having an opportunity for more maybe live work and more writing in different genres than I would have done. And I'm going to keep it a little bit secret for now, but a nonfiction project that has been kind of clamored for by fans of one of my pseudonyms. And this is something where I never saw myself working on this type of book. It wasn't really what interested me. But now that I look back at my whole, what I enjoyed reading, for example, and I look forward at what this could potentially do for my career, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to really be kind of spitting on the benefits of this potential plot twist that's happening if I don't actually address it and go with it. Because many times when a plot twist happens, you've got a choice, right? You can go one of two ways or one of three ways. And many times, if you take the right road, it can lead to something incredible. And if you take the wrong road or the safe road, it can be less rewarding. So remember that. So what are some of the plot twists that have happened in writers' careers? I think you're going to find this very inspiring. And these are things that can happen to you. And it's cool to see how other writers have dealt with them. So for example, I was talking about having this fixed mindset of like, oh, I'm too old to succeed in my writing, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Laura Ingalls Wilder started writing the Little House on the Prairie series in her 60s. Okay, so some people experience success later in life. There's no rule that says that writing success comes early in a writing career. Who cares, right? Some of us have not peaked yet, and that's a good thing. So really set yourself up and say, okay, if success comes at a later age, do I want to go with that? Or do I want to say, no, I'm retired because I'm too old? What are you going to do, right? Speaking of success, what about when you have this super unexpected success? And this is something that I wish on all of you. I wish it for myself. Some writers experience this overwhelming, unexpected success with a particular work. Look at J.K. Rowling. She went from being an absolute unknown to a literary sensation with Harry Potter. This transformed her life dramatically. Now, what would have happened if J.K. Rowling said, no, I'm not this public figure. I'm not, this author who's creating stuff that's going, to be made into Hollywood stuff and into like a whole, theme park. No, I want to sit in the corner at Starbucks and just write in my corner. She didn't do that. Now, for better or for worse, right? She's now a public figure. And that's actually kind of an important plot twist to throw in there. Controversies and scandals that can have a profound impact on your career. So, look at J.K. Rowling, the things that you say in public definitely can lead to these impacts, right? You can be canceled, you can be whatever. And then look at somebody like James Frey, who wrote this memoir, the supposed memoir, A Million Little Pieces, most of which was completely fictional. And he was completely vilified for that. It pretty much killed his career, at least for a while. And this is an important thing to think about, right? If I'm hit by controversy or I'm hit by scandal or, a particular work gets completely shot on and enters into this political or social context that I didn't anticipate, how do I deal with that, right? That can be a huge challenge. And it's good to just have some thinking about, what would I do in this situation? How do I change course? Or how do I deal with it? How do I address it? There are also personal challenges in life. I was talking about, the plot twist that you wanted to do NaNoWriMo and now, you've got a sick child and you can't do it. Yeah, there are real life challenges all the time. Health issues, personal tragedies, job changes, mental health challenges. All of these things can have a significant impact on your life and on your work. And if you have that growth mindset and you just see it as a type of plot twist in your life that might change your work or it might, deepen your work, that's a great way of looking at it. But it's not always possible to do that, right? Another huge change that we're seeing right now in how people are viewing their careers are these changes in publishing. There are changes in the publishing industry all the time. We've had these huge shifts in technology, ebooks, self-publishing. All of this has massively altered the landscape of what's possible for many authors. and also even social media. These are things that have made it both easier to be heard and it's made it harder to retain somebody's attention. There's so many ebooks being published right now. There's so many social media accounts, so much distraction. You're going to need to write a damn good plot twist to keep people's attention, right? So what do you do? Well, we all have challenges and we all try to adapt to these challenges. So that's a really important thing to think about. And also think about, how is the political or social landscape going to change? And does this influence your career? I mean, let's think about banned books, or let's think about genres that become more or less popular. Let's think about trends. All that stuff is amazing. Or maybe you're going to meet somebody that's going to become an unexpected collaborator, right? When Stephen King, for example, he was writing, these novels under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. That's almost like a collaboration. It was, a pseudonym. This added complexity to his career. And you've got these writing teams that bring the best out of each other. Or you've got, you happen to meet somebody who's in Hollywood and they write a screenplay based on your novel. And this unexpected collaboration takes your career in a whole new direction. I think that this highlights just the richness of the potential, outcomes of being a writer. A writing career is very versatile. Like your life and your career, they're mirroring the twists and turns that you can find in fiction. And it's impossible to completely surprise-proof your writing career, but I really want you to think about these different ways to be really adaptable. What are the best ways to set yourself up so that the plot twists can be really positive instead of disruptive? Diversifying the income streams, for example, right? Relying solely on book sales, that can be really risky, right? You want to be doing, freelance writing, speaking engagements, crowdfunding, a part-time job, whatever. If you need another income and if you're counting on an income, I think that if stability is what you need to be writing more, definitely make sure that you are creating that stability financially for yourself. Your author platform. This is something that you own. This is your direct line of communication with your readers. So that if there is a scandal, if there is a poorly received novel, if you've got these loyal readers that you can engage with honestly via social media, newsletters, other platforms, it gives you a little bit more of your power back. It helps you to really, speak directly to the people who follow you. I think that's really important. Staying informed about industry trends, you can keep ahead of things. And when a possibility, to collaborate or a possibility to adapt to a changing technology, when that comes along, you're not going to be left behind because you're aware of the shifts that are happening. And also keeping your skills polished and sharp is so important. So I have a client and she's so talented, but she's been working on something. I'm not going to go into big detail, but we were working on something that's kind of an anthology. We'll put it that way. And she said to me, hey, I don't know how to put all of these documents in a folder and share it with you. Can I just drive an envelope with a bunch of loose pieces of paper to you? I said, no, you cannot. I said, your next job as my client, and I'm not charging you, any further hours for now, is you need to figure out how to do the minimum that is needed for you to do your job. So don't be just improving your writing craft, be improving your tech knowledge so that you can know how to do the basic things that you need to do to keep being competitive in the writing world. I think that's so important. Staying agile, staying adaptable, that's crucial. You can't tell people that you're hiding in the corner just being a writer and still be writing with a quill pen and assuming that the world isn't going to pass you by, right? That's not a plot twist. That's inevitable. So make sure that you are in a position where you're ready to, take anything that comes your way, whatever the plot twist might be, you might be able to twist it into something that's positive for your writing career. Remember, prioritize your physical and mental well-being. Stay flexible, physically and mentally. A healthy and resilient author is better equipped to face challenges and uncertainties. Making time for self-care, recognizing when you need to get some help, This is so important, right? You can't eliminate all surprises from your writing career, but being proactive and strategic, that is the best way of creating a great career in the long term. And if you have any more questions about this, definitely my courses address this a lot. I've got my mindset course that's called From Aspiring Writer to Successful Author that really addresses that resilience and growth mindset. So if that's the first step for you, that makes a lot of sense. But also feel free to drop me a line, send me an email. Karena@spalmorum.com. You can find that email on my website, creativeandwritingcoach.com or onlineCoursesForWriters.com. And send me an email. I answer all my emails. I read all my emails. You can book a chit chat with me to see what writing coaching can do for you. And also you can get that feedback in an editorial assessment from me, your writing coach. Thank you so much for being here with me today, again, on the How to Be an Author podcast. It's so special for me to be able to reach out and communicate with so many of you each week this way, and I really value that opportunity. And I look forward to being with you next time. If you want to hear about a specific subject that has to do with writing or the writing life, reach out. I can always modify my plan for, this season or next season of the podcast and address all those questions in this forum. Thank you so much. If you have any pressing writing-related questions or would like to be featured on the How to Be an Author podcast, please feel free to reach out on my website, creativeandwritingcoach.com.